Oke, tes. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Good morning, everyone. Today, I would like to introduce to you about our speaker. He is a professor in University Brunei Darussalam. His name is Dr. Wahyu Kaisandra. This is brief the curriculum PT of Dr. Wahyu. Please showing for Iris. He is alumni from the University of Wollongong, Australia, for PhD, Master Engineering from Pokyong National University, South Korea, Bachelor Engineering from Diponegoro University, Indonesia. He has so many achievement from many institutes, and he interests research for vibration, pattern recognition, mechatronics, product design, structure analysis, and finite element methods. And his long time experience in software engineering. He have many supervising and teaching in the Faculty Integrity Technology, University Brunei Darussalam. He teach engineering design, innovation and entrepreneurship, engineering design, and so many subjects. And I think he have experience for administration, managing and leadership, like head of quality assurance for development of mechanical engineering department for make certification ISO 90,001 in the 2015. Yeah, I think you can please showing the curriculum vitae of the okay. Yeah, this is another achievement of the from many institute for Mr. Wahyu, like keynote speaker. He have invite speaker in international seminar and conference, and he have joined and collaboration with us some professor on the overseas and India robotic and science and technology, Polandia, and maybe Indonesia. Okay, I think so. For curriculum CV of Dr. Wahyu, maybe you can presentations, and you have 45 minutes for presentation and discussion. Time to you now, please. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Julian Sukardi, for introducing my brief CV. Before I start, while I'm sharing my screen, I would like to, my share screen still disabled, please. Okay, yeah, I would like to thank to committee. ICON is CSE Committee 2021, especially for Rector of UNSRI, Dean of Computer Science Faculty, and also IEEE Indonesian Chair and Head of this conference. Okay, to save the time, I think I just sharing my screen because I have limited time. Yes, okay, can you see my screen and my voice is clear as yeah, please. Okay. I assume that you can see my screen and also you can hear my voice. Okay, thank you. Yes, I will start with the question because why? This is the conference that's very unique for me. Usually the conference theme is about computer science is separate, and we have also like international conference is engineering. But this is seldom. Just for me is unique because this conference is combined between the computer science and engineering. Yes. Although I also did not see, I also attend yesterday session, especially in the best paper announcement. I did not see any paper selected in category of engineering. Yeah, I think this is not fair. Just that's for feedback for the committee because all of the papers selected is about the computer science, but the team actually also included engineering. That's why I would like. Then I have an idea to would like to because I think most of the participant today is coming from or has a background in computer science, but my background is engineering. I would like to ask you, and maybe we can. I would like to open your mind that engineering and computer science collaborate. I will see some of the intersection and application. Okay, thank you. I think just would like to highlight again. If someone would like to collaborate with me in this research interest, product design, mechatronics, robotics, mechanical, digital manufacturing, machine learning, and deep learning, IoT, and signal processing, you can contact me. You can ask the committee. I think we also will send you this PPT and I will also send my email address. And this is my profile, and I'm also currently acting as an editor for 3 journals, Sounds and Vibration Sensor journals, as well as the Macro Machine. You can have a look if you can see that the topic of the conference, the journal is fit with you. I can help you to get some funding because this is open access journal. I can help you to give some discount for the paper submission. And also, I would like to provide a little bit of because my background is combined between the mechanical also computer science, because I learned in the past 10 years, I have gained some of the knowledge in mechatronics, control system, mechanical, you can see from here. But in my PhD, my master, I start to learn about the machine learning. So then I feel that mechanical engineering will be combined with the computer science in terms of machine learning. And also currently I also have some project in deep learning as well. You can see from here, I have applied some of my knowledge or expertise in also industry as well as in the medical science field. Okay, I will start because maybe you can see from the CV if Dr. Julian showing that actually I was with Undip before as assistant professor, and I was selected for application that combine between the engineering as well as the computer science. Number one is about Parkinson disease classification. Application number 2 is about hand movement classification. Application number 3 about motor imagery classification, and application number 4 is related to the hand exoskeleton. And I continue my postdoc in Nanyang Technological University This is also combination. Also apply mechanical and computer science field to this project. The project title is about in-process thickness measurement for aircraft engine fan blade in Rolls-Royce industry. And I also would like to share a bit about my ongoing research. Application number 1 is about ECG image classification. Application number 2 about smoke and fire detection, and application number 3 is about scoliosis measurement. I will also explain my student will be attend this conference as well because we have submitted paper in application number 1 and application number 2. Okay, I will start with the application disease. Maybe you have seen that if your relative, for example, elderly people, maybe your grandmother or grandfather has already getting old, and then one disease that might occur is Parkinson disease. In Indonesia, if you asking about hospital, it's quite a lot, because last time I visited and we collaborate with the Rumah Sakit Karyadi Semarang. They have a lot of number of patients that has Parkinson disease problem. So in this case, they have classification about UPDRS, the Unified Parkinson Disease Rating Scale, as well as the Human and YRSS scale. They assess the assistant the PD. I just presented the PD according to this two classification. But actually, the assessment is based on the visual as well as the conventional method. And then I have an idea because the PD has some unique information about the voice as well as the muscle. So I have an idea to apply the mechanical or mechatronics devices to acquire the signal. And also, according to the signal, we'd like to use a machine learning method to classify the Parkinson disease level. You can hear from I would like to give you an example. If normal person sound looks like this, can you hear the voice?
No, sir.
No, okay. How to share? Because I have video here, and I would like to let me check. Maybe in more. Share sound, okay. Okay, I'll try again. Can you hear the voice? Yes, is it clear? Okay. The second one is about the Parkinson disease voice from the patient. We collected this is in Rumah Sakit Karyadi Semarang. Sorry. The second voice is here. As you can see, as you can hear, it's a bit different. But how different? We need some tools. Yeah. How different is we need tools to make sure that to quantify this different. So then I collected some of the sample from the patient with the help of my master student, and also I also collected the EMG signal from the foot of the patient. They had need to do two activity, tip 2 and choice experiment, and also this is we have two classification. I mean two subject classification: the Parkinson disease subject and healthy subject. You can see from this data some of the information about the age as well as the gender. And I used if you familiar with the machine learning, I think you know about the feature extraction. So this is the features that I use to extract the information from the signal. And finally, I use because the features dimension is quite big. So before we use this information to the machine learning method or algorithm, we need to reduce the dimension of the feature using one of the feature dimensions, dimensional detections called principal component analysis. We call PCA. It's very common. So you can see from here the difference between the healthy condition SNY stage 1, SNY stage 2, and SNY stage 3 is quite different. So this data is trained into the SVM, ANN, and also SVM. Then you can see from here that they are classification. And finally, but I don't have the picture. Sorry, this the model already input in the microcontroller, and currently we have also patented these devices and then used in the rumah sakit to detect the patient. Okay, the second application is about the hand movement classification. Still similar to the previous project, that we need to collect the EMG electromyography signal from the people that do some hand activity, hand movement, for example, like tripod and hand close. So the EMG signal will be different, and the machine learning will be distinguished. We'll be able to separate the signal. This is also useful for the bionic hand, because we need to input embed the model, and then once the signal coming in, the model will understand, will decide which signal is belong to the movement. And this is the features that we use for the EMG signals. And you can see well, there are 7 hand gesture or 7 hand movement. And finally, we use the PCA because the data is quite big for the features. And I use a PCA to reduce the features. And you can see from this PPT, the 7 hand gesture or 7 classes can be separated very well. And I use ANVIS as well to see the classification. And then you can see from here, the classification is about 91.43%. Okay, application number 3 is about motor imagery. If you know about EEG sensor, EEG is an electroencephalography sensor that can be used to see the human brain activity or human brain signal. I use the emotive in this case with the 12, I forget, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, about 16 channels. And the idea is based on this emotive sensor or EEG sensor, I would like to this is collaboration project with the LIPI, Indonesian Sciences, and to move the wheelchair based on the EEG signal, because it will be useful if the handicapped people or disabled people can move their wheelchair without moving, without helping from the people, so they can independently, if they would like to go to somewhere else or going forward, going to left, going to right, or backward, they can just think that I would like to go forward, and then the wheelchair automatically will go forward. This is the idea. Again, I just helping my friend in a college in DP to do the signal processing, and then the hardware they do by themselves. And this example you can see from this software. We developed this software that we would like to see. Oh, sorry, because you can see from here there are a lot of points like P means parietal, O means occipital. Yeah, I learned to a little bit about the medical terminology for the hand, for the brain spot or position. Frontal is F. So based on this position, we collect the data, and then the data will be saved in different folder. For example, for the left data is for the right data. You can see from here. Then we use this data classified with PNN, and you can see from. Sorry, I'll just skip this one because this is just like a GUI. We developed this in the MATLAB, Simulink. MATLAB. So this is a sample of the channel. You can see from this EEG signal, very random and very non-linear. So this basically, before we try to the wheelchair, we have some like a joystick or the remote. If we would like to go, if we think go forward, then the arrow must be blinking, but I did not have the video. If you think the patient, the people that use the emotive EEG thinking forward or right, there's one of this arrow will be like indicating the color. So this indicate that the accuracy of the machine learning. And yes, because we have a limited subject, only 9, so I think, and we use ENN, the accuracy quite low, but we have improved, but I don't have some data in here because it's continued by my friend before I go for the postdoc. And the fourth application is about the hand exoskeleton, and also this is the highest, the second, yeah, the one of the highest disease in Indonesia, because like stroke is very common, maybe in also the Southeast Asia countries. So in the stroke patient, they usually have a full or partial. In this case, we would like to have the partial stroke. For example, the hand, left hand or right hand doesn't move or cannot be used. So usually in Korea rumah sakit tadi, they use this kind of the therapy. In this case, the patient has a left-handed partial stroke. In order to give some motivation, the doctor use a mirror and then move her right hand that is still normal, to imagine that the patient will be have imagination that, oh, I can move my left hand, but actually what the one she saw from the mirror is the right hand. According to this idea, we would like to develop the exoskeleton. For example, the right hand, the hand that cannot be moved must be used exoskeleton, and then will be this is the idea. So for example, the hand in the partial stroke hand cannot be moved, and then we use the normal hand to help the hand that cannot be moved. So this example. Yes. So, but it's still like a mechanical and electrical. The contribution of the machine learning will be shown later on. Yeah, this is okay for all fingers. Okay, but how if we would like to separate like this? Because before the patient has some full hands rehabilitation, they need to start with the fingers. How they can because if the patient has a stroke is something that the losing memory of moving hand. So doctor usually would like to return the memory of the patient by some therapy. So in this case, if the patient moves their finger quite often, their memory to move the finger will become back, and then the patient will be getting normal. So in this case, it's a bit difficult to using the set on the mechanical, and then we use the machine learning to distinguish 5 finger movement: thumb, index, middle, ring, and little. So you can see from the EMG signal also different, but visually it's different. But how different? We need a tool that to quantify the differences. Again, in this case, we use PCA and also one machine learning method. From here, you can see the features of the thumb, index, middle, ring, and little finger as different or separate very well. And also I use ANFIS. You can see from here, but last time we got only 72%. We haven't improved because because if you think that if you move the middle finger, I think the ring finger will stop moving. So this is something like difficult to solve. And also, okay, continue as a postdoctoral fellow in NTU. I have one big problem. I have one big project to replace the conventional method in Rolls-Royce. I mean the conventional measurement methods, because last time they use, this is the flowchart. You can see from here the surface quality of monitoring is still using visual inspection, and is typically connected is offline mode. So we would like to remove this part by using like a machine learning and deep learning method. And last time we tried with the machine learning method, and it was successful. You can see from here this is the conventional method. After the manufacturing process, we take off the fan blade and measure the thickness. This process will take a lot of time and also a human dependency, because it's not easy to remove the fan blade with a 20 kilogram heavy. So we have an idea to incorporate the machine learning into the measurement, and you can see from here, based on the sensor signal, vibration, and we have the feature as well. And then using the machine learning model, they can predict the thickness level or thickness measurement. Okay, that's the one I have as a postdoc, and then I continue my ongoing research as assistant professor in UBD. So basically, I have three projects: ECG, smoke and fire detection, as well as the scoliosis. I will try to, because some of them is still ongoing. So if you also notice that in Southeast Asia, the cardiovascular disease is also one of the one of the biggest number that happen in, because maybe walking behavior, maybe meals active, walking activity and then meals behavior can lead to the cardiovascular disease. In this case, we would like to also creating some of the device to detect the qualification of the, because usually if you go to the ECG or SPJP, in Indonesia we call SPJP, spesialis pembunuhan jantung, you can get this data. This data is a printed paper. You cannot have like a digital paper because the machines can print it. And maybe we can just take a picture, and then with this picture, we would like to classify either your ECG signal is belong to what of this normal or another classes. So currently we just have 4 data, which is normal, that ECG, sudden deaths, and arrhythmia, and also supraventricular arrhythmia. So these classes, we create the features using the CNN, and once we get the model, we test the new data, and then we will get the result. If you would like to see and hear more detail about this project or result at the current stage, you can come to this paper session, because my master student Taufik Aiman from UBD will present this paper in the afternoon session. Okay, section number 2. If you have this problem, I think it's common case. If you have a electric socket, that will be like getting hot, and when it's hot, there will be coming the smoke. After the smoke will be, you will see the fire. You can see from here. Yeah, I just make it faster the video. This is a normal electrical socket. Maybe I'll happen in here. If you have like a short circuit, then case will be happen. So the idea is we would like to detect the early detection for the maybe any potential for the fire at home or as well as industry. And you can, I will just, yeah. After smoke come up for a while, and then the temperature will be getting hotter and hotter. Then fire will be also it can appear. According to this case, we try to use one of the learning method called VGG16, and you can see from here we classify the video. We try to segment the video into some of the frames, and we train the deep learning method using the images, and then we classify into 3 level, like a background means normal, smoke means when the smoke is initiated also, and then the fire is the final stage. Again, if you would like to see this detail of this result, you can also coming in afternoon session. My ex-PhD student that currently working in Uganda will present this research. This is the real time detection using the CNN. Sorry, not CNN, VGG. So this is the real time deep learning detection. You can see from here. The deep learning can indicate the smoke from the devices, from the faulty device, and once the fire also come up, you can see the deep learning model can detect the fire as well with the different color. So we try to continue this project with the connection with the hardware. So once the, for example, like the green color detected, then we need to have some information like alarm system. Also, we can also see the area, how big the area of the smoke, also how big the area of the fire. This also can indicate how severe or how dangerous the fire is. Yeah, again, I have mentioned that if you have interest to have a look or see the detail of this project, you can attend to the afternoon session. My student Malik, my PhD student, already graduated, will be presented this paper. And I just started a very interesting project and collaborate with one private hospital in Brunei. It's called like adolescents idiopathic scoliosis detection, because it's very common in Brunei that scoliosis. We found a lot of number of patients in Brunei because I think the meals behavior. So we would usually the doctor, the neurosurgeon, have the X-ray image, and then they measure manually using maybe rulers and maybe like a pen software. I mean, maybe like a pen software to detect to put the lines, and then two lines, and then once they got the lines, intersection of the line, they calculated the angle. They call the Cope angle. So according to this Cope angle, they can measure how the level of the scoliosis. And we would like to replace this manual. We would like to replace this manual measurement by using the deep learning. So I try to I try to use the image processing first to different between the white and the background, and then the second step is use the image segmentation. We would like to detect we call like this. The this is between the red color is the this. This is the part between the vertebrae in the spine. You can see from this. So once we get the disc, and also we would like to find we call like end superior disc, and also the end superior, and also the apex superior. So according to this position, we will have the best fit line of the surface spine, and then we can create the line. But it's not just started three months. We'll continue maybe later on in this year, because we have to extend this line, for example, in this line until I can give some note here. So this is the so this is the line here. Okay, can you see my cursor?
Yes, Doctor.
Yeah, okay. So basically we would like to find the 2 points, up and down. If up here, then if we have the lines, then we have to extend the lines, as well as down position. We also have to extend the line. When they have the intersection, we will have the Cope angle by using the coding. So basically, we would like to do this kind of project result in this project, but it's still ongoing. I also have some of the error here. That this is supposed to be linked side by side, not something like this. This is like a jump to different position. So the bottom one is okay. You can see the yellow line here is quite good, because left this and right this. Left this is the red colors, and the right this is the blue colors. They can link together. So basically, we will just continue, but the above one needs something to improve it in the algorithm. Yeah, okay. I think this is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much. Maybe if you have any question, you can ask, and hopefully I can answer your question. Thank you very much.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Dr. Wahyu Kaisandra. I think this is so a good presentation and so clear, and I think so interest for our his presentation. Maybe if participants have questions, please you use chat, and you can use direct voice to our Skype, our Zoom, and I will record your questions, and maybe Dr. Wahyu can answer directly. Okay, please. Yeah, one question.
Okay.
This is for a chat. What type of image pre-processing normally used for medical images before classification process?
Okay, let me also read the chat because
Yeah.
what
The first is what type of image processing normally used for medical images before classification process?
what type of image processing normally? This question,
Processing, no.
yeah,
Maybe,
a bit confused because currently in medical, what I think,
yeah,
currently,
this is a mine might be the for make the image medical
I
image.
mean, okay, I want to clarify the question. Maybe
yes.
there is some pre-processing like image enhancement or histogram reduction, something like that, before the image inputted into the network or something like that. What type of that kind of image pre-processing before the image to be extracted and classified into the process?
Okay.
There must be some.
Okay, I understand. Okay, now I understand because I thought that you asking about the method that has been used in medical. But I think you will it's more toward about the what I use so far, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Also, I need to ask because there are a lot of application in. I mean, in this case, I use the SIFT. Okay, I would like to SIFT is like frequency. This moment, I think I forgot the stand for because usually when I already use the method that I just abbreviated with the. If you notice that SIFT, I just use here. You can also searching as. I type in this is the method that I use in image processing of the scoliosis. But also I would like to highlight that it's different based on what purpose or what object you would like to process. Because in this case, the foreground of the spine is a bit difficult to separate it because image processing of the spine and also the foreground is you can see from this image. I think last time I very difficult to see. You can see from here, the black and white is very difficult. Last time I used this one, I use SIFT. If I would like, I can write down here. You can search in the Google as well. I use this method. So this is quite nice because they can separate it like this. So the background black and the spine can be separated very well. Okay, maybe hopefully you can answer if you can answer the question.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
you're welcome.
I think from answer from discuss, maybe the questioner can contact with Dr. Wahyu for more clear of the
Yes.
answer, I think, yeah. Okay, any question again, please?
Okay, I just remember I will just type down in the Zoom link the abbreviation of this method.
Okay, if no questions, I think I will reading the resume of the presentation, Dr. Wahyu.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Julian, I think we have another questions from
Oh,
Kurhanul Rizki,
oh, yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
He would like to ask about scoliosis measurement. Previous research I read mentioned about the second view from lateral side. Do you plan to include lateral view next? Okay, understand.
Okay.
In scoliosis, as far I know, because also get this project quite recently, like 2 or 3 months before, the doctor just briefed me that usually the scoliosis has two types, single or multiple, double. Because single means only one curve, either left or hands. You can, if the left hand like this, if the right hand like this. And then they also have some cases that the multiple. That's mean like a S curve, not C. So this is a bit different, a bit difficult. I haven't started with image processing, but in your question is we will not consider about the lateral, because the Cobb angle is one thing to measure the scoliosis. Maybe this is different method in medical. But my case is very specific. The doctor just asked me to, my task is please find the Cobb angle using the deep learning or machine learning. If I can solve it, they will not use, they will no longer use like a ruler, otherwise like a manual measurement using the yes, something like the calculator. So usually they have the X-ray, and then the X-ray they put the straight line. They know the position. They call the superior end. I forgot the name. It's very difficult to remember the position, and then they make the line. And then the intersection, they create the Cobb angle, the angle, and then they measure using we call it busur Indonesia. If you know the busur ruler, they use that one. So they just for example like 15 degree. And this is very time consuming because there are a lot of patients. Then we would like to automate. We call automate measurement using the deep learning. I think maybe we just put the camera next time, and the model will calculate the Cobb angle automatically. Okay, I think that's the idea.
Thank you, Doctor.
Welcome.
Yeah. Any question again for our room or not? Okay, no. Okay, thank you for all, and I will reading resume of the presentation. Okay. Oh yeah, chat. Oh, sorry, I did. Oh, so many. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I did. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I will in the chat, Mr. Sutarno question. CNN or existing DNN feature extraction and classification, though they need use, and we can do the extraction process and the addition enhancement before.
Okay, thank you for the question, Mr. Sutarno. But if you can, you can repeat if you currently join, and then maybe you can, because I'm not quite sure and quite clear about the question is. Yeah, okay. I'm trying to understand. Why I always choose CNN? Because for me as engineers, I'm not learn deeply about the computer science field. So for me as engineers, CNS is like quite easy to be applied in the engineering application or problems, and that's why mostly in my project I start with the CNN. And if the CNN has some limitation, or maybe not quite good in accuracy, or the result, now I might use, or I might consider another method. In this case, I haven't tried with the DNN, and I think as you know that if you, Mr. Tano, from computer science, you know that the difference between machine learning and deep learning is deep learning can extract the features automatically, right, without human interference. So in machine learning, we need to select the features, but in any deep learning method, maybe you know better than me if you are from the computer science. Deep learning doesn't have step or doesn't is automatic features extraction. Is it answering your question?
Yeah, one question again. This is
Okay.
from Professor Siti Nurmaini.
Okay,
Why,
thank you.
why use ECG image, whereas the output of ECG is text, XML, or CSV? What application to propose for the process?
Okay, the ECG progress. Yeah, I think I get from the Visionet the data. Yeah.
Siti Nurmaini.
Yeah, thank you.
I use ECG image, whereas the output of ECG is text, XML, or CSV. What application to propose for the process?
Okay, data obtained from the US open data is called Visionet. If you not, if you I think know about this data. As I remember, the data is not in the TXT format. They like an image formats.
The output ECG is text, XML, or CSV. What application?
Yes, as I remember, I think also you can read. You can also come to this presentation. The data is not TXT or XML. They have on a unique data format, and we need to convert it first to the image. Yeah, my students also install the specific software to convert this available data format from the visionet.com. And in order to make it reliable for the CNN input. And then I think my student use the image data for classification.
Okay, thank you. I think that is clear for presentation because our time is finished. Maybe I want the reading of the resume of the presentation, Professor Wahyu.
Yes.
I think the presentation is about the information on the collaboration between engineering field and computer science. Dr. Kaisar has presented a comprehensive intersection and applications of both fields by showing a few completed projects as well as a few ongoing projects. The presentation clearly opened our mind that the combination of the engineering field and computer science can open possibilities to produce useful product in order to make human life better. Hopefully, there will be joint research between Fasilkom Unsri and the Faculty of Integrated Technologies, University Brunei Darussalam in the future. I think so. Okay, I think so. Thank you very much for Dr. Wahyu.
Yes.
You have share your knowledge. I think next time we can meet and we can join and discuss.
Yes, of course. Yeah, inshallah.
Yeah.
Thank
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.